Hey chat, how we doing today? I have to bring a ball to life. And I'm not talking about in the same way that I was yesterday where I was just flattening it out and then stretching it straight up. We're going to be doing something a little bit more complex today. So, I actually am not quite entirely sorted on my end, but that's fine. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Alright, so we have this thing. Now, I do have quite the list of things that I need to do in order to make this animation work. So I'm going to pull out ye olde drawing tablet, which I did not think to turn on before the stream started. And I've got so much shite on my desk that I have to move quite a fair bit of it in order to even be able to get this thing to sit on the mouse pad properly. Okay, that was just the gum that fell over and not my cup of tea. That's great. There we go. Alright, so this animation. Also, I figured out now that if you gonna make a drawing here, apparently you can lock this and it's going to prevent the thing from moving whatsoever, so you can just draw on the same layer now. I only learnt that like 5 minutes before the stream started. So the thing we want to do today is we want to have this bounce up and down. So we're going to start from this position here. We're going to have it squash out. Just Control Z that. So we have this squash and then stretch upwards, going up that way. We're going to have the ball do that, the top, and then go back down. And then we're going to have it squash and stretch so it stretches off to this direction. And then we're going to have it do a bouncing here. And then roll along the ground. In fact, I'm just going to draw that so it's actually touching the ground. Is that too much? Like, I want it to be sort of like that. Probably like a bit higher on most of these, but that's fine. And then for each of these, I'm going to have it do ye old squash and stretch in both directions with it deciding to even out here. And then another thing that I'm going to have to do is I'm going to change the color for this one. So change this to 0. Oh, never mind. We'll leave this at green. And I'll add another one. So I'm going to lock this. And set this to red. So nice bright red so we can differentiate it between the movement frames. So for some secondary motion I want to do here is I want to have this do preparation for it doing movement. So in this case I want it to sort of stretch out towards this way and then curve back around before stretching out towards this direction here. And then say for this section here, I'm going to have it stretch out very minimally before going into this position here. And then this goes to that position there, goes up. When it comes back down, when it hits the ground, I want it to sort of, it's going to be the first time I do jiggle physics, I want it to sort of bounce a couple of times, like it's going to look a little bit wobbly before it returns back to its normal position, if that makes sense. So if I move this now, yeah, okay, it's not disappearing, that's great. So I'm going to turn this one off for a second. And we're going to start moving these around. So I shall move this tablet back out of the way so I can continue on with my animation shenanigans. Oh boy, why have I done this? What the hell have I done? Oh wait, I know exactly what's happened. It's this space mouse. So for some reason, I am intent on keeping on my desk, and yet I never actually do anything with it. I really need to practice with it. Is what I need to do. I initially had it there for when I do sculpting, so I don't have to have one hand on the mouse at all times. Except I think I've barely even used it. I'll actually unplug that for now, just so it doesn't cause any more problems, because I might need the drawing tablet more times today. Hey Likely, how you doing? Better drink that tea before it goes cold. Now, what was I doing? Post mode, right? So I'm gonna grab all 3 of these, and I'm going to... I know there's a way to keyframe all of them. Whole character. So if I set a keyframe here, and this isn't going to be obvious for a second, but I'm going to pull up one of these. And instead of going into the dope sheet normally, I'm going to go into the action editor. So this is something where I can see all the bones that are currently selected. Super helpful here. So I'm going to change this to multi-ball rig bounce. Just so I know what the action actually is. Right, so first thing I want to do is I want to grab... Actually, do I want to... Yeah, I'll keep that like that for now. I want to give it a few frames before it actually does anything. And the circus music has already begun. Okay, thank you. Very much appreciated, I guess. I'll have that. And then... say frame 10. Have this squish all the way down. Oh, I forgot to do active gang. And there's the dumpy emote for the circus music. Great. Absolutely brilliant. It's got the same beat. Oh my god, it does too. What the hell? Why? I swear they did that on purpose. Okay, let's stretch this all the way up then. Make this exaggerated but not overly so. So we do this. Cool, so it should... I'll probably give it a couple more frames of startup before that, because I feel like it should have just a little bit more squash before the stretch. I think the stretch itself is fine in terms of speed. So I'll grab this and insert there. See. Actually, so all the way up. On the same frame, I'm gonna Alt G that. So now, yeah, obviously the speed it goes up needs to be a lot faster, but you're all right, yeah. And then on the other side, obviously, I'm gonna squash this back down. So that. Oh. And then, so when it hits the ground on that frame, okay, and then I'm gonna have this not be squashed down this far. Alright, we think it's maybe about time that I go into especially this group. So get rid of the rotation, get rid of the scale, we don't need those. What's the it's the locations. Yeah, don't need those. So turn these into vector. I should probably calculate this. So go and turn this off for now, just so I can see that a bit better. I'm thinking scale these a bit more. Because obviously whenever you're looking at the motion for this, you're not looking at the middle of the frame here for the movement. You're looking at the bottom of the geometry. So I want this to be having the bottom roughly around the same area. Actually scale these in the X and then grab them. And then scale this. That. Now if I update this, I did not mean to play it backwards. Okay, that's quite nice. So it squishes down. And then I've just got to do a little bit of finagling at the end, but that is fine. Now, the next thing I have to do, swap back to the action editor. So it goes down there, give it say 2 frames to go back to normal, so I'll do that. And then give it, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 frames before I start next movement. So what I want is to, let's see, where is my annotation? I want this red one specifically. So I want it to like stretch out and like get ready to bounce and off into this direction here. So see if I can do that without having to use the annotation for this. So it's probably going to be like 3 keyframes to this, right? Just to make it an even curve. Okay, so 1, say 2 frames. 2 frames there. 2 frames there. Let's calculate this. Okay, that's a bit janky. I'll just duplicate this and move along. Update paths. So I'm going to say frame 39, push that in a bit. out a bit. And then I'm going to have it move across over into this direction here. Say over 1, 2, 3, 4 frames. Alright, let's have a look, see. Okay, there's too few frames in between there now. So let's try that amount. I could probably add a little bit in between these, just like 1 frame between each of these. Just to make it look a little bit smoother. Okay, that's a bit nicer. I would prefer the curve to be a little bit wider here. So it falls, and then it's supposed to leap off into this direction. Alright, so on frame 52 it's still there. So insert keyframe there for the body. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably 6 frames for this bounce. So 5 frames in between. I'm gonna hide the frame on that one. Motion paths. Actually, what am I doing? Why am I animating this when I really need to animate this across the X first? And then clear that one so I don't have to see it. And then insert frames here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Insert those. That really a bit higher. Okay, and then from that position there, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4. Let's try that. And insert right here. Why is that? That should not be doing that. Why is it doing that? Well, stop doing that. Okay, for whatever reason, this thing just decided that it didn't want me to just use the Z on one of the keyframes. It decided it wanted to move both. A little bit more bitter than the matcha I'm used to, but you know, it'd be like that sometimes. Actually, logically, I know why this is the case. It's because the linear is still on. But it shouldn't be doing that. I don't know why it's doing that. Update paths. Okay, I need to do something here. I need to set this to be all 0. Because for whatever goddamn reason, this, by default, just is off very minimally, and it does not need to be. And it's gonna irritate me until I can fix it properly. Okay. Lock the Y. There is no reason for this to move whatsoever. And then 1, 2, 3. Insert keyframe. 3. Actually, I don't need that one. 3. 3. And then insert there. Yeah, I don't know why. That one specifically just decided it didn't want to play ball. Actually, that one could stand to be a little, just it's tiny switch. And then after that, I can just use the graph editor to make a tiny bounce without putting any extra keyframes in the middle. Right, speaking of, time I did something about this. So grab all of these, vector. So those are like that. I need to do something about the X location. All of these need to be vectored for the time being. Okay. I think I actually got the arc on the ball movement quite close to the projected direction. Right. And then I want this to have a couple of extra keyframes here. So open this one back up again. Say 1, 2, 3. X. But did I switch this back to available channels? I didn't. Okay. I'll set that back before I cause any problems. And then insert keyframes there. Actually, I'll make these all big ones. Y rather, not Z. Okay, that looks good. Now, of course, I do need to make sure I do the bounces here. So I need to do the squash and stretch on this thing now. So this is where I want this to. No, not that one. That one. And then duplicate this onto this side. Actually, I need to move this even further. And then this one I want to minus it. Oh, okay. Apparently that just changes the zoom level for the... Why is that a thing? Okay, I guess. I just need to press minus there, I suppose. So... And then the top, I want to ungrab that and say 2 frames before, 2 frames after. Yeah, that looks fine. Ah, now I did almost forget to do this. So I do still need that 3 frame in between window for this where it hits the ground. So I need to on frame 64. And then grab all these. So then this can Alt-G squash down. And this can come around here. So it stretches out to there, squashes there. Probably doesn't need to be squashed that much though. Probably like that much at most. Do that. Okay, excellent. And then this one is going to be 2 frames for the squash and stretch because it's a lot shorter of a bounce. Sorry, Chad, I had to restart some medication last night and it does make me a little bit thirstier than usual. So... not that one. So, grab this. So it's supposed to hit the ground there before bouncing. So I think maybe it's actually 1 frame. And then this one doesn't matter nearly as much. So up there. And then this one, I'm not sure what is going on there. Makes you what? Thirsty. Like it dries out my throat just a little bit faster than usual. And obviously if I'm yapping that much, it's going to be a little bit of an exasperated problem. I'm sure it won't last for too long though. So, grab the top one here. Right here. And then okay. Okay, I think I need to make this one slightly less exaggerated. I'll just grab this one smidge. Like, it's fine to have this one be a little bit more exaggerated, but I feel like it needs to have a little bit of stretch on this last one. It needs to squash on this frame. Actually, I'll just Alt-G this one. And then the most minimal amount possible. This one, duplicate it. And then here, it. I think it's fine to have this one directly in the middle. Have this one be and be minus. And then Alt-G this one. Okay, maybe this needs to be on top of here. And then the next frame here I can have this be ungrabbed. I'm not sure what's going on with... Oh, right, I know exactly what's going on with that one. Actually, I'm just silly. So, yeah, that needs to roll into the last bounce. I was like, what is this? And then I realized, oh, yeah, this is the last bounce that I've made for the thing here. It's just that minimal bounce thing that I did. Why? Oh, it might actually be because the X location is off. It's supposed to be linear. So if I make this linear, it should be even again. Yep. Alright, let's see what we've got so far. Okay, not bad. It is going to need a bit of rotation on it as well. So it does that. And then it's going to rotate probably around the top, if not slightly later then. Also, I think this needs a little bit more... Does it need more rounding? No, actually. No, but that does need to be a little bit less. That needs this way. Cool. Squashes, goes down. Do we feel like it moves side to side a little bit too much, chat? Probably... Oh, what have I done? Let's try that. Alright, action ever. Making quesadillas right now. Honestly, that sounds really good. I've never tried a quesadilla, but they always look so delicious. That. And then this one here. Negative. It's just a smidge less exaggerated. Like, I want to have character, but I don't want to be wacky, you know? Do y'all not have tortillas down there? Yes, we do. It's just that I've never had a quesadilla before. Like, I've had tacos, but not quesadillas. It's just not one of those things that's all top. Yeah. Grab this one and set up. Okay, that's a little bit nicer. Alright, now is the time to have it in the most minimal way possible. Bias. And then this. So mount this. Okay, that is way too far on that last one. It just feels like it's accelerating on that last one. Yeah, that should not be moving nearly as fast as it is. Okay, so I need to go into... Alright, let's move stuff. And this stuff here also needs to be moved down. So it's not just straight up accelerating at the end. Well, it's a fantastic depression food because it's 2 ingredients in a microwave. Honestly, fair enough. Yeah, it's like, it's too fast. Like, still too much so. Okay, that's a lot. It doesn't feel like it's accelerating now. Although it might just be going slightly too slowly. bounces. Okay, that's good. And I want this to roll out the edge. So say at 100 frames. Jesus. Yeah, 120. Okay, so this needs to probably be curved at the end. Yeah, this needs to be a free handle. Let's try this. So it still should be keeping momentum. That's actually accelerating. I don't want to be accelerating. Maybe a little bit less. A little bit more. Okay. So that should absolutely start slowing down properly. Oh, okay. It looks like it's speeding up again. Bruh. Okay, so it looks like it's speeding up. I don't really want that. So I'll move this a bit further over this way. Let's have a look, see. Just a little bit more on this side. Actually, at that point, if it's that obnoxious, maybe 5 extra frames should do it. Alright, let's see how this looks. Bounce, bounce, bounce. It still feels a bit fast. I think that feels a bit better. Okay, so it rolls out here now. I think maybe I want to give this a little bit roll back. So say from here to say 110. Insert another keyframe here and just like not too much, but just enough that you know that the rollback is there. So bounces. Cool. Back. If I get this done in a reasonable amount of time, I might go back and complete the obstacle course animation because this is the only one that I've gotten a video for today because the video was like 30 minutes for a single assessment. Normally it's not that detailed, so a little bit concerning. Now something I do need to do is I need to give this just a smidge of momentum whenever it goes between these bounce frames here. So I shall do just that. So I want to grab every single frame outside of this section here. I want to G and then Y this. Like, not a huge amount. Like, it just wants to show as having a little bit of momentum. I think that's good. So, all these ones, G and Y very minimally. So it has that momentum to it. I need to still do some stretch on that one there. I've neglected to do that. I've done the other ones here, but I just haven't done that one particularly yet. In fact, I'll do that first before anything else. So I go back to the action editor. Like a very small amount. In fact, I'd even go as far to say as this doesn't actually need any Z movement, it just needs X movement. And this one here. Duplicate that. Here. And then this one. Just remove that. Probably needs a little bit less movement in the X on that, on this last set of frames here, because it feels like it's accelerating because of the amount of movement. So, first of all, remove all the Z squash on the slot. And then set this to like -0.3. So it still moves, it just doesn't move nearly as much. Copy that. That one there, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna divide that by 2. So it has a little bit of the movement to it. That's a bit better. So it bounces along. In fact, I feel like the movement on that last one here is still a bit too fast. Like, the movement on the third one is fine, I think. Yeah, it's just the last one that still needs to be edited a bit. Wait, have they edited it? It's not even 4 o'clock yet. What? I must be hearing shit. Anyway, so where is it? Graph editor. And the body. Yeah. I'll grab these last keyframes. I want to really make this flattened. Yeah, it just feels like it's accelerating here. It realistically shouldn't be. Hmm. Maybe it needs to stall on this number 81 context here. Like, all this needs to be moved one frame, perhaps. But, like, even then, that doesn't feel right. Like, that feels like too much time for these to be comes around. Thoughts, chat? Do we think that the... Like, I think it's 81 to 84. Do we think that's accelerating, or is it because there might be too much squash and stretch? Start. Watch backwards? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, when you watch it backwards, it looks normal. Eh? Why is it watching it backwards makes it look like that it's doing what it should be doing? I had a hyperfixation in high school. You're gonna have to be a little bit more specific there, likely. Which one? Yeah, that rolls to a stop at the end. So I'm gonna add a little bit of pizzazz to this for the time being. Look how many keyframes is required for just this animation. That's wild. I have these moved along. Your brain predicts the movement. Since there's a delay from your eyes, the information goes against the prediction, causing a jump appearance. Alt G this. I'm actually gonna do that. So if I do this. Oh, good lord, I accidentally messed up, chat. I failed to grab all of them, so I, like, severely messed up um, the animation there, but that's fine. I can just control Z that. I'm gonna save this, actually, before I mess up anything else. The jump in appearance being the acceleration. So, yeah, predicts the movement, the information. Interesting. My brain is refusing to process what that means, but I kind of get it. Anyway, right, so I need to drag these out. Okay, excellent. So that's the little bit of extra character that I wanted at the start. I want to have this when it hits the ground, basically just jiggle a bit. So I want to have this grab all of these. Here it actually is just a little bit like that. So if I play this now, so it has like a little bit of jiggle right at the end where it hits the ground. So it hits the ground, bounces up. Might give this a little slight more exaggeration. Congratulations, like you finally got your jiggle. It only took an entire another stream in order for it to happen, but it happened. It only took an entire, like, a full stream yesterday and about an hour and 2 minutes in this stream for us to finally be able to have access to jiggle physics for balls, but you know. Baby steps, I suppose. Right. Wait, so what's the posing here? Wait, so if I have something selected... Wait, is this the spin control? Oh, it's the spin control. We don't need the spin control keyframes just yet. Point. And then, yeah. That rolls to a stop at the end. We should be good. Now, what I do want to do, just quickly, is I want to grab this thing. That would be the root bone. Wait, I used the wrong emote. Fuck. How is that the wrong emote? Oh. I'm sorry, this is allowed on Twitch? That is a bold emote to try and put on Twitch, especially considering what their stance is on that particular type of content. That is bold. So I'm gonna go to the final frame here. I'm gonna have it roughly around back here. Remove those, so then that's the only keyframe. So now that's off to the side, and it gives me plenty of space. Parts. Gives me plenty of space to just not be worried. Now, why is this showing a weak spot? Oh, right, I need extra keyframes here. So if I grab this and calculate this again, it should give me the correct... Yep. So now it starts off to the side, so when it finishes rolling, it finishes somewhere where you can actually see it. I wonder if that needs to have either one frame taken off of this one or one frame. If I add an extra frame, then there's no point, right? So maybe the frame that I need to add in is actually in between these two. So hopefully that shouldn't accelerate now. Okay, yeah, I think the problem was that there was too short of amount of frames in that last bounce, which made it look like it was accelerating. But with an extra one there, it looks normal now. It's the emote that made me to decide to start streaming in hopes of becoming an affiliate. Yeah, I'm actually, I wouldn't say I'm awfully far off. The one thing I don't seem to manage to get consistently is the 3 viewers at once thing, but that's fine. Like, I'm fairly close to 50 followers, so I should be able to get to affiliate maybe some point this year, hopefully. That seems like a reasonable goal. Okay, what is this last... Okay, that actually needs to be... Paths. Now, the body does nothing from here on out, so we don't need those keyframes. Actually, no, that's the body keyframe. What is the... Oh, that's the root keyframe. This needs to be moved along to the start, so I can actually see it. Want to become a PNG tuber? I have PNGs. So the funny thing is I'm technically an actual face cam tuber. However, I just don't show my face these days. I don't think it's really all that important. So if I wanted to become like a VTuber or a PNG tuber, I could literally just finish. Okay, who wants to see an unreleased file that I made like quite a while ago? Because I was gonna do a 3D model for for, you know, face cam, that sort of thing. Where is my... And I'd just like to point out, I was doing this particular project while I had severe cataract, so I could barely even see the bastard. Just give it a second to load, because it is... I wouldn't say it's too heavy of a file. It's only like probably 13 megabytes. Not that much. Just give it a second to load. There we go. So this is actually what is essentially a concept for a character that I had an idea of doing. I was gonna do it like a Hydra and have like one of the mouths be the one that I'm talking through. And then a second one, whichever one would be like moderators would use text to speech. And then the third one would be text to speech for chat to just yap. So like donations, the third head would just speak and I could just respond to it whenever. At least that was the general idea. So that's no longer accelerating. So I guess now the real sticker of this situation is to try and get the rotation working. So the idea is to rotate it mid bounce, and then the rotation will sort of pause when it hits the floor almost, before it bounces along again and rotates again. So if I pull up the file for this exercise. Okay, so it actually rotates the entire way through, but it is vectored so it pauses slightly whenever it rotates when it hits the ground. Like, I'll show you the image, like the example image here. So along the bottom here, whenever it hits the ground, it pauses very briefly before it continues rotating. So that should be easy to do. Why is that pin? That one doesn't. So I can start with this one here now. So I don't need the root bone anymore. I don't need the body one. I don't need squash. I just need the spin one. So say from 63 here. I thought I inserted keyframes for this. Oh, I need to insert keyframes here. And then it does rotate along the y-axis. This. Okay, excellent. So, say for this one, I'm gonna rotate it 180 degrees. Would be enough, perhaps? Okay, it looks okay. So I want the... So I want the rotation to slowly work its way in. We do that. I feel like it's a bit too fast, actually. Probably scale that out a bit as well. Scale that. Okay, that's probably a bit too much. Yeah, I think maybe instead of 180, let's try 120. Okay, that is not quite enough then. So why would this look so fast? Maybe it needs to start with the frame. No, it is starting on the correct frame. Let's say between these two. This one here. Let's rotate this. Say about 70. Okay, it's not rotated enough. Let's try 260. Okay, the second rotation seems to be fine. So, rotates there. Say this one here. Rotates another 90 degrees. Not 910, just 90 is fine, thanks. And then this one here, probably a further 45. And then it rotates until it hits the end here. What is the body location at this point? Okay, I would like to be able to see the X location next. Okay, so then it rolls to a stop here for moving backwards just a smidge. And then say rotate this. I'm gonna rotate 200 degrees. Okay, that might be a bit too much. Because that is actually just sliding along the ground now. Right. Let's go in here and see if it fits it. So if I pull out the annotation tool here and make the mark here. Yeah, you can see where it's sliding along instead of sticking. So really, what I need to do is I need to no, grab all this. And now I can grab this down. There is. Wait a minute. There we go. I was about to say. Grab that down until it performs properly. Certainly rotating much more in place than I would like it to. So grab this one. Okay, let's get so I look at this now. Okay, the movement's a bit chaotic. Yeah, at the very end it is rotating way too much. Okay, it's so I really want to move this down. Let's try that. I feel like and since I absolutely hate rotation in general, I am. Oh, do I want to cheat? Do I really want to though? No, not yet. I was gonna cheat, but I've decided against it for the time being. X. Yeah, it feels like it's sliding. Actually, what I can do, and this isn't going to be constituted as cheating. I'm going to swap back to the basketball for a second here. Yeah, so I want to... Go. Right here. I want to move this about until it stays in the correct spot. So... Okay, now I feel like it is moving too much for the rotation. Let's try this. So I'm gonna do a couple of... Or just that one specific, but I'm gonna... So it's not slowing down and speeding up. This is the only part here where it's applicable to speed up or slow down the system. Otherwise, it should be free game. Yeah, it's definitely rotating too much at the end. Let's try right about here. All it takes is a little bit of tweaking in order to get it right. I don't want to move too much from this spot. Okay, that's definitely sliding slow. That's how it looks. Is there maybe too much rotation on this set of frames here? I feel it looks straight though. Huh. Let's try by a very small amount. Okay, that's definitely over-rotated. It's his first one. Okay, I think that looks a lot cleaner now. I mean, obviously, I'll come back to it in my own spare time and just double check it before I submit it for the assignment. But as far as I'm concerned, like, that's a pretty clean and decent roll at the end. So I've just got to do a little bit of back rotation at the end, and we should be good. So guess it's a frame 118. This one, right? Just double check the dope sheet. It is not. It is 117 apparently. I guess the overlap on frame 110 there is the thing that caused that. Cleasant. I have no idea what the hell that word means. In fact, I don't even think it exists, but honestly, the verbal diarrhea that comes out of my mouth, there's bound to be some actual bullshit in there. Alright, that. Yeah, so maybe moving this back slightly more just to give a better idea as to what it's doing. So the action paper out, and then really, actually, I can just do this. Why have I not done that? I don't want to get too greedy now. Okay, that's good. Now I just need to do the rotation. So that was on frame 115, right? Yeah. And then insert keyframe there. And then this one. Squish these together. That is far too much. Only the most minimal of these is supposed to be done. Okay, that's far too much. Just a smidge more. In fact, I go as far to say this actually slides to a stop. I think we're good, chat. I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't be able to get the rotation to stick properly in the end, but it does look pretty decent. So now if I set this back to ball type 8, should be ready to go. I don't think the 180-degree rotation is so bad in this case, because it is supposed to be a little bit comically exaggerated. And the rotation at the end is fairly clean, so I can't complain about that too hard. Okay, nice. Oh, okay, cool. I just had a quick look at my email because I was suspecting that a package that I had ordered, Cleasant. Oh no, please don't tell me this is going to be a running ship post. Don't tell me this is going to be the first Cyclonic doing Blender ship post to be made. I mean, I thought it was going to be the whole dual wielding spray bottle and bat thing. I didn't think it was going to be fucking Cleasant. Anyway, regardless, the animated survival kit book, which I ordered yesterday, I believe, is been sent out, so that's good to see. Anyway, I should stop getting sidetracked. I think that's good. It's got that little bit of extra character with the starting bouncers having a little bit more wind up than the example image. I love that little just bounce it does right here. I think that was a great addition. I think that was well worth the almost breaking the entire file. I think that was worth it. Just for that little thing there. So now, if I pull up the dope sheet, these are all the keyframes, and this is a... How many seconds of animation is this? Like 4, 5.5-ish? It sounds about right. Nice. Anyway, I'm gonna save that. And I am going to... Which one was it? Like, I know I have a couple here that I need to work on. So I'm going to do... Where is it? Basic ramp type 5. So this is the first obstacle course animation. Just give it a second to load. Oh, also, chat, I do need to inform you that there isn't going to be a stream on Friday because I have another ophthalmology appointment, and I'm just like, bruh. Could these guys just not do it on the same day and make our lives so much easier? So, yeah, there's not going to be a stream on... Actually, hang on. It's an early morning appointment. There might be a stream. I'll, update you on the day if there is going to be a stream or not. But if it's an early morning one, it's fairly likely. If it's an afternoon one, which I'm pretty sure it isn't, there won't be a stream. So this one... The speed on that is fine. I just need to do the rotation on this now. And Okay, can I just say, chat, ever since I had to do the rotational, like the like having the ball roll along the ground, I have fucking hated this particular part of the project. Just like doing manual rotation sucks. Like, it is so obnoxious. Anyway, let's get rid of the body and pull up the, not the squash, the spin. So, rotation along with the Y. Just a single keyframe though. So I'm going to say from here to here, probably Y 360. And then I'm going to lock the both of these. Right, so it needs to be rotating slow at the top and then really rotating down the bottom. So I'm going to vector this handle immediately, so it keeps that momentum. And now, again, I'm just going to swap this to the basketball just so I can see it a bit easier. And I feel like this needs to be scaled out slightly. Just so then there's a little bit... Okay, now it's just sliding though. Does it need to be scaled down a bit? Okay, yeah, this does look like a case of needing it to be scaled down a bit. Okay, now that's actually sliding on. It would be roughly in a similar position. Yeah, so I need to scale this. Well, it's roughly about there. And now this is... That's just literally leaping, so... I have a feeling it probably needs a bit more rotation, perhaps. Yeah, it's like basically teleporting at that point. I mean, like, I know it's going down fairly quickly, but it's not going down that fast. So this thing really needs to keep moving. Let's say... Also, I need to remember to lock this. Otherwise, I don't get good indicators. So that... That teleports all the way forward. Still. Have a look and see what it's like. Okay, that's way too fast, actually. So I know it's definitely not... Actually, It actually needs to be moved all the way over to frame 23. That's 19, 21, 2, 3. And then that needs to slow down its rotational momentum up to around about here. And then it's going to slowly go back the other direction. Okay, I think this could stand to be rotated just a smidge less. So let's go back to say 400. I'm just doing this based off of eye at this point. Was I right in the initial 360 assumption? Also, what's getting keyframed on these? Is it the annotations? Possibly. Just put an annotation here so it doesn't get pinged. I think it's fine actually. So when it hits here, also that needs to be set back to vector. I don't know why it isn't. Is it just me or is it sliding now? Yeah, it's definitely sliding. Let's go to frame. Probably. Or actually, even a bit further, say frame 30 for now. Just so I can get a quicker response on this. Probably do a little bit more rotation. Yeah, that's a bit better. That hits on this frame here. And then for the body, it stops on frame 28 specifically. So frame 28, the rotation is going to be is not available, right? Yep. Say this much, right? So I need to probably do something about this because this shouldn't be curved like that. I just realized. So, like, I know the entire point is to have this plot here go down, but, like, I want to have this one here basically be further back. So, if I grab that, do this. The frame that it moves back on is there. I think the reason why that is because it is floating here. Okay, that's a bit better. So if I move that back one little tiny bit. Yeah, so now it's not going to magically do that. Although I could stand to make this slot here one frame shorter. I'm gonna vector these, I think. And then I can GMY the both of them. And then going So I want it to pause for like a singular frame. Right, of course, I need to extend this out, say 50. Start at like 20. Yeah, that's perfect. Now, I do know that this is rotating way too much. Although it could just be because it's freezing on frame 28 as opposed to slowing down even more. So that is fine. Go back to the rotation. Let's climb up the tree of rotational values here. Paths, so I know exactly where I am. So frame 28, frame 32. Make this a lot less rotated. It'd help if I could only just grab the one, yeah? And then on frame 34, where it starts moving again. So I'm gonna duplicate this. Just move along the X. So it freezes there, and then further on, so from here to frame 53, which is where the next contact point is. Because, like, putting rotation on the mid-air points is not going to work in this case. So, right here. This. Insert right here. And then this is probably not a 360-degree rotation, considering the fact that it... Actually, it might be. And the only reason for that is that there's a shorter distance between the full here and here than there is, like, from here. So I'm going to start with 300. Or at least in this case, plus 300. And then work from there. Oh wait, but I have to minus 300 because of the opposite directional rotation. Yeah, so then this needs to be vectored. Okay, that's not too bad. So, start from frame 30, and at frame 7. Actually, I'll start at frame 25. That way I just get that bit of wind up. It's a little bit harder to judge the rotation on a slope like this. Probably does need this. So that's like moving quite a bit more than I would like, I think. Because if I put a marker there, it's like already moved. So minus another 60 degrees off this. Of course, I need to remember the fact that when I move it, moves the entire animation. There. Okay, it's a bit more. Let's scale this. Divide that out. So that rolls to stop. Let's see how this looks. The rotated? Oh, sure. Because at that point it wouldn't be nearly. Because like you have to take that bounce into consideration, but it's not anywhere close to being here, so it can't be a huge amount of rotation lost. I'm gonna try lowering this a bit more. Like that's quite a fair amount to lower it by. We'll see. Okay, it's definitely sliding. Yeah, it is sliding. Yeah. Okay. It shouldn't really be. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I am just thinking it's over, like it's under rotating, but it's really not. Because I seem to have that problem a little bit when it comes to animation. It's just the rotational values always seem off to me, so I keep faffing about with it, and I just get way too much into it, and it becomes an issue. So, starting from frame 1 here. Doesn't look awful. Okay, I'm going to say that's good enough for the time being. So now we go on. So I'm going to go frame 50 start. And then the end, let's say frame 60. So now we're working on this section. So the rotation is obviously going to be a lot less when it hits the ground. So the rotation will invariably end up in the negatives because mostly because the end point is so much further back than the start point. Or at least that's the way that I see it. So frame 61, insert a keyframe here. Then grab this Y. Because the entire idea is to make sure it doesn't look over-rotated. I also don't want it to be under-rotated as well, you feel? So I want it to be probably this much. That feels right. Maybe just a smidge more. Okay, that's a lot better. So, like, it's almost a straight line, except it's, like, very marginally... Like, if you looked at this, you would think it was a straight line from here. But the second you, like, really zoom in on this, you can see that the angle is just slightly off. Like, very slightly. Also, do I want to vector these? Yeah, I do want to vector these, actually. So now, from 57 to... Nice. And then on frame 67 specifically, we insert the keyframe there. And grab that line. Make sure that's vectored. I really want to... Okay, that's too much. Vectored as well. I sneeze so much during stream, it's absurd. Blue. So whenever it bounces along anything, it's going to lose a bit of rotational value. So say from here to here, it loses a bit. From here to here, it's going to lose a bit. So around about here. Cool. And then from 64 to, say... That sneeze doesn't match the voice. It never does. Everyone is always so shocked whenever they hear me sneeze. Because they have this absolute baritone voice, and then suddenly Mouse sneeze. Like, it makes no sense, and it is absolutely hilarious whenever somebody gets cognitive dissonance from it. So, Frank 1, insert right there. And then make sure that it has a little bit of slowdown, but not too much. And then I should be good for this one here to just not bother with the rotation, probably. Because the rotation slowdown around about here is going to be the main factor here. Alright, let's start at 1 and end at 75 and see what we've got so far in terms of this animation. Okay, not too bad. So it's just having the rotation at the end here for the final bit. And then obviously it needs to rotate backwards slightly. know what the funniest part is, chat? I actually have two sneeze modes. I have the regular mode, which is mouse sneeze, and then I have dad sneeze. And there is literally no in between. And one of them only happens when I'm genuinely sick. Which is the dad one. The mouse one is the default. And then... So... rotation... So the X movement here finishes on 89, and then a couple frames later, it goes to... Also, looks like I'm going to have another conversation with Nightbot. Do I really need to put you on a personal improvement plan, Nightbot? Also, yeah, that is exactly what I sneeze like whenever I'm sick, is just that. And it always jump scares everyone in the house whenever it happens. Okay, frame 89. So, let's frame that. So I'm going to go from frame, say, 69 and end at 110. So now, frame 89, I need to grab this. Obviously, yeah, I need that to be vector, but this definitely needs to be Bezier to account for the slowdown at the very end. Also, how many warnings do we get? Because I think my number is getting up there. I don't know. I don't know how the Nightbot warning system works. But, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to work on that at some point. I do want to get StreamerBot working, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. Whoopsies. That is definitely a my bad in this case. Okay, gonna move that up a smidge. Now, mess about. If Nightbot bans you, I'll just unban you. It's not the end of the earth. Because, quite frankly, everyone who's gotten a warning from Nightbot has gotten a warning for the dumbest reasons, so I'm not going to honor those bans, to be honest. Like, y'all are fine, I promise. Okay, maybe I'm not rotating this. Okay, what is going on? Does this need to be slowed, perhaps? Okay, no, it's now just definitely slowing along the ground. I wonder if there's a way to make the lines in graph like in the graph editor. I wonder if there's a way to make the lines like a bit brighter. Although, might not be the best idea. It might screw me over at some point if I do that. Okay. Let's try... So that... like, that eases out into this. In fact, I might even make this a free handle type. Just to give myself a bit of an edge here. Try scaling these both at the same time. Okay, that is moving too much. Let's try this. Actually, can I just vector the both of these? Yes, I can. Of course. Grab this and bring it down a bit more until it's a more appropriate rotation. And now, set this to free. Yeah, that definitely rotates too much at the end. Like, what is this? This doesn't need to be like this. And set this to look back, actually. So it moves that way. Scale this. Oh. Yeah, that's the thing. If you scale this too close to the middle of where you're trying to scale around, it makes it go hyperspeed. Which is probably useful if you're moving stuff about really large distances, but it is not fun whenever you're trying to do very minor tweaks. Okay. Scale that back. Okay, it's definitely sliding again. So it is a little bit further. So how does it look for the rest of this? So if I draw a marker here. Okay, that's almost good. Maybe it needs to be scaled in a little bit more. Okay, do that. About this much. Like, I know I'm scaling it out more now. Maybe I do need this to be freed up. Because now it's certainly just rotating on the spot here, so... This needs to be changed back to the way it was. Doing so until we get exactly where we want to be. It's like moving so much though. Like it's rotating a lot at the end. It should not be rotating that much. I'm going to say it needs to be rotating less. What's the value of all these? Not very much. Vector. Let's scale this down a bit wider. No, I don't want that one to be scaled. Why is that one being scaled? Okay, let's try this. Okay, it's not rotating nearly enough. What a bit of a conundrum. So it's still rotating here because it doesn't really matter if the rotation slows down or not because it's basically on the ground anyway. It's just the ground rotation that's being a bit of an annoyance. So yeah, that sticks in place. This here is where it starts going wrong. So I need to scale this out until it... So that's in the right spot. But if I try to vector this, it's not going to slow down correctly. That's strange. Is the rotation too high? Probably. I am doing something right there. I love the fact that I can actually just do this. Like I can just set the rotation live while the animation is playing. So really. Then put the litmus test here for this one. yeah, that sticks in place still. Like, I might just move that behind it. Cool. So go back this way. This one here. Let's try to. And then that. Grab these. Let's go. Okay, so it's still like that. Now it's here. Okay, it still needs to be risen. Because, like, scaling this in the extreme is not doing me any favors. At the same time, like, I feel like that's going to be undershooting now. No, it looks fine, actually. Almost, not quite. Okay, let's try a little bit more. Like, let's make this thing really obvious. Okay, that's actually definitely rolling too much at the end. Okay, it looks a little better now. I guess I was just over-rotating it. Yeah, it's still going to do that bump at the end. But now that actually rolls over, probably slides a little too much. Okay, that should be good. Right. Yeah, that rolls exactly how you expect it. So I guess I must have been over-rotating that. Nice. So now I've just got to do the slight roll back. And then the rotation animation on this one should be just about finished. Okay, and what is the distance that we're moving on this one? So the last keyframe for this is on frame 97. So insert keyframe here. And then this one is a very minimal type of deal. So make sure that these are free, so whenever I move this keyframe, I'm not going to mess everything up. And then GUI. It does need to move a pretty reasonable amount. Not quite that much. Like, very minimal amount. Pick this. And it's still too much. So, set it to free. Okay, I think that's good. Sliding. This is free. I must sleep by. See you later, Likely. Hope you have a good evening. Okay. That. Okay, now it's not rotating up. I want it to rotate a bit, but not so much so that it's gonna be distracting. Oh heck, I didn't even realize what time it was. Okay, I'll end the stream there. I just realized that I've gone severely over time and I have still got to feed Ellie. So I shall see y'all in the next stream, where hopefully I'll be doing a little bit more. Looks like the next one, the itinerary, is actually motion graphic, so that's going to be quite an interesting one. Anyway, I shall see y'all tomorrow.